Welcome back to Math's Easy, step by step. In this part 115 video C, I'm continuing to answer that standardized assessment word problem, the probability problem. And in this particular video, I'm going to be converting fractions to decimals and then the decimal to a percent. So you could see in the probability, sometimes they give you options A, B, C, and D as a fraction. Sometimes they give it only as a percent. So I wanted to show you both ways, right? So in video part 114, I showed you how to find the fraction. Now, moving forward, using the fraction of 6/91 or 6 over 91, how to use long division to convert the fraction to a decimal and then the decimal to a percent. If you've been watching all my fraction videos from part 1 all the way through to this part 115 video, this will be very easy and simple. It'll just be a review. If this is brand new, we're going to take it step by step by step, and I'm going to go through it so you can understand it. All right, so every fraction is a division problem, right? 6 divided by 91. I'm showing you that here. 6 divided by 91. I'm going to perform what's called long division, right? And so to the right of the 1 is an invisible decimal. To the right of the 6 is an invisible decimal. The first step I'm going to take is show that invisible decimal and add a bunch of zeros to the right of that decimal. Okay, so here you can see that the right of the 6 is no longer invisible. I'm showing that decimal. And I'm raising that decimal directly above the divisor bar. And to the right, as many zeros as I need to write. They're invisible, dot, 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 dot. So that's why I'm writing them dot, dot, dot. You can just put solid zeros, right? I'm instructing, I'm teaching. To the right of that decimal are an infinity number of zeros, right? You write as many zeros as you have to. I'm doing the dot, dot because they're invisible. I'm an instructor. I'm showing you they're there. So just go ahead and put as many zeros as you need to the right of that decimal. Now, sometimes it helps. On these assessments, you're not allowed a calculator, right? So you have to know 91 times what number gets me closest to 6. There's no number, no whole number, right? 91 times what number gets me closest to 60, right? There's no whole number that 91 times would give me a product. An answer to a multiplication problem is 60. So then we'll go to 600, right? So what number times 91 gets me closest to 600? That's my target. So a lot of times we use a technique called guess and check. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so in this guess and check method, what I'm going to do is multiply 91 times some numbers I feel will get me closest to 600. Remember, that's my target. So 91 times 5, right? 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 9 is 45. So 91 times 5 is 455. Does that get me close to 600? Yes. Do I go over 600? No. So this is pretty good guess and check. All right, I'm going to try 6. 91 times 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 9 is 54. 546. 91 times 6 is 546. Does this go over my target of 600? No. So I'm getting closer to 600 without going over. I started off with 3. I got 273 as a product. I multiplied 91 times 9. I got 819. If I multiplied 91 times 7, I would go over my target of 60. So this is going to be the product, the answer to a multiplication. I'm going to use 546. So 91 times 6 gives me 546. Okay, so I'm showing you 91 times 6 gives me 546. So I'm going to subtract that value from my target of 600. So I want to show you I cannot take away 6 from 0. I cannot take away 4 from 0, right? I can take away 5 from 6, but I got to do something with these values here. What if I borrowed from the 6, turned that 0 into a 10, borrowed from the 10 and took this other 0 and turned that into a 10. Okay, so you can see that's exactly what I did. I borrowed 1 from the 6 becomes a 5. The 1 that I borrowed turns that 0 into a 10. Right? But I have to borrow from the 10, which turns it into a 9, in order to turn this 0 into a 10, right? This 0 borrowed from the 10 that was over here, right? Which is now a 9, and this 0 is now a 10. So 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 4 is 5, and 5 minus 5 is 0. Now, before I can move on, I need to bring down that 0. My new target is 540, right? But 91 times 6 is 546. 546 is larger than 540, so I cannot use 6. What number do you think I'm going to use? Okay, so remember our guess and checks I showed you just a few moments ago. The value 1 lower than 6 is 5. 91 times 5 was 455. So since 546 is larger than my target of 540, I have to use 91 times 5, which is 455. Okay, so 91 times 5 is 455. And I'm going to subtract that from my target of 540, right? So I'm going to subtract 5 from 0, 5 from 4, 4 from 5. Wait a minute, I cannot take 5 from 0. It's too small. I cannot take 5 from 4. It's too small. So what I need to do is borrow from that 5. Okay, so I borrowed 1 from the 5, which turns it into 4. The 1 that I borrowed from 5 turned that 4 into a 14. But I had to borrow 1 from the 14 to turn that 0 into a 10. So that 14 became a 13, and that 0 became a 10. So now I can subtract. 10 minus 5 is. 13 minus 5 is. 4 minus 4 is. And then I'm going to bring down that 0, that next digit. All right, so 10 minus 5 is 5. 13 minus 5 is 8. 4 minus 4 is 0. Brought down my 0. My new target is 850. Let's go back to that guess and check and see if any values get close to that 850 target. So I see one that's pretty close. 819 is close to 850. It does not go over 850. 91 times 9, 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 9 is 81. So 819 is the product of 91 times 9. Now 91 times 10 would be 910. That would be too large. It's greater than 850, so I could not use 91 times 10. So I'll use 91 times 9, and I'll subtract 819 from 850. Okay, so you can see here, 91 times 9 is 819. So I'm going to subtract that 819 from 850. I cannot take away 9 from 0, so I'm going to have to borrow from the 5 in order to get my new value. And I can go on and on and on, but I'm going to stop after this and then convert this decimal into a percentage. Okay, so you can see here I borrowed from the 5, which turns it into a 4. The one that I borrowed from the 5 now turns that 0 into 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. I brought down my 0. My new target is 310, but I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to use this decimal value to convert into a percent. All right, this video's gotten a little bit too long, but you can see my decimal value here. In the next part video, 116D, D as in dog, we're going to take this decimal, we're going to convert it into a percent, and then I'm also going to give you some internet search suggestions for worksheets with answers so you can practice these skills. Stick around. Math is easy. Take it step by step. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time. If I've helped you, please help me. Like, follow, share, and subscribe.